Danny Flexen here for Seconds Out. Delighted to once again be joined by Hall of Fame promoter Bob Arum. And Bob, you've had so many legendary, memorable weeks, months, or fight weeks, build-ups in the past. Now it's time for Vasyl Lomachenko unification clash with Teofimo Lopez, the biggest fight for most people of 2020. How does it compare to some of the historic events you've been involved with?
Well, boxing always thrives on hoopla. Whether there's press conferences, special training sessions, meetings with groups of the media. None of that is happening here because of the COVID. So we have to really hunker down and discuss a fight like this, which is so tremendous, based on technical aspects, who the fighters are, what they bring to the table, and how they'll match up with each other. So it's more of an intellectual type of hoopla than it is the usual hoopla assigning, which boxing promotions usually have.
And we know that it's going to be shown on free ESPN in the US, not on the app, the streaming service, but or pay-per-view. It's going to be absolutely free and widely available. Just tell us how you were able to put that deal together. I'm guessing fighters and teams had to take a bit of a haircut, but for the greater good.
Well, what happened was boxing is, fairly major sport, but nothing like sports like baseball and American football and basketball. But it's still a prominent sport. Now, when all these other sports were sidelined because of the COVID, we were able to continue boxing in a bubble and not only continue it, to do more events than we'd ever thought possible. 2 events every week. So our friends at ESPN took notice. And, once they got a hold of a big major fight like Lomachenko Lopez, they said, you know what? We know there's a big audience for boxing. Let's show it on our ESPN platform. Let's get a huge number of fans watching this event. And given the situation economically in the United States, with so many people out of work and so many people suffering economically because of the pandemic, let's not try to soak these people for money, which they really can't afford, to watch a match that they've been talking about and thinking about for months. So I really commend ESPN for doing that and showing this fight on free television to everybody.
And it seems that Frank Warren and BT Sport over in the UK have followed your lead to an extent, making the Joe Joyce or Daniel Dubois Joe Joyce fight was initially set for pay-per-view. That's now on subscription TV. So similar move, albeit.
I applaud Frank for doing that. I mean, we cannot continue on the way we've been doing by putting all of our good events on pay-per-view. We have to do some. But we have to allow the boxing fan to breathe and to really get this sport available to them without really substituting the idea of buying a boxing event against, getting some food for the table.
Of course. And you commented recently on the failure of Sky Sports, among other broadcasters in the UK, to pick up Lomachenko Lopez. Fite TV have stepped in and will be sending out on a paid platform here, but at a reasonable price.
Yeah,
How do you
10,
feel about
less
it?
than 10 pounds, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, well, that's great. I would have preferred it on free television, but there were no takers in the of the UK broadcasters. So Fite TV, they get a great signal and they got a great event. And believe me, it's a spectacular card. You're going to see it starts out with this Berlanga kid
Mm.
who's fought some decent opposition, and I think he's had 16 fights, 14 fights, 14 one-round knockouts. Incredible. Well, he'll be fighting an experienced guy, and let's see what happens. And then the semi-main event, I can't wait. Barboza and Saucedo, two top 140 pounders. And then, of course, the main event, which I think is going to the fight of the year.
Yeah, I mean, it's the best fight of 2020. I don't think you'll find many people disagreeing with that. What I wanted to ask you, you mentioned football earlier. We recently saw the Raiders score something of an upset over the Chiefs. A big result for them. The Las Vegas Raiders now, of course, which explains your clenched fist support.
For us, yeah.
Exactly.
The quarterback looked great. They beat, the top team in football in
At
the
Arrowhead. Yeah.
home grounds. So that was a big victory.
How would Lopez upset over Lomachenko compare to that?
I would tell you what, I've been in this boxing business a long time.
Sure.
And I remember back, even before I was in, when Muhammad Ali, a brash guy who never stopped yapping, went in with Sonny Liston. And I think Liston was a 6 or 7-1 favorite. They thought that Ali would get killed, that he couldn't back up his bombast. But you know what? Everybody saw Ali handled Liston with ease and won the title. Now, Lopez has a hard road cut out for him. He's in with the best technical fighter that I've seen since Muhammad Ali. Guy who has unbelievable distance and footwork. And I've never seen anybody as good, including Floyd Mayweather Jr., who was terrific. I never saw anybody who can move the way and fight the way Lomachenko does. That said, Lopez is no slouch. He has a tremendous punch. He's very, very quick, and he's confident. So could there be an upset? Yeah, sure they can. That's why people are fascinated with this. Lopez is the naturally bigger guy, but he's in with Lomachenko, with the master, and he's the master for a reason. You don't have 398 amateur fights and win 397 without being a master.
Is there a case to be made, given the age of the two fighters and the fact that for Lopez, English is his first language, he's a very charismatic guy as well, that for the sport and perhaps even for Top Rank, it might be better if Lopez wins?
I don't know. I have both of them. Yeah. So I'm not going to say what's better or not better. Who knows? Lopez, if he beats Lomachenko, would be a superstar in the sport. That's true. But Lomachenko is history. You're dealing with legacy and history. Lomachenko, if he continues on the path that he's on until he retires a number of years from now, will be considered one of the legendary fighters of all times. And sometimes that's better than anything else for a promoter to have been associated with somebody who could very well have that type of legacy that Lomachenko would have.